Hi, my name is Gregor Mendel, and I was born on July 22 in a small town called Heisendorf in Austria. When I was 11, my headmaster was so impressed of my knowledge that he recommended to my family a junior high in Trupau, and that was a financial problem to my family, but when I finished my studies in 1840, I was the best. I was in a 2-year program in the Philosophical Institute of the University of Almost, where I got really depressed, but I finished my studies in 1843. Then I had a huge fight with my father, and well, that because of that, I escaped to the St. Thomas Monastery. Well, I have access to a great facility and a huge library where I made my experiments. And then I got a mental illness, and then I go to the Semin to teach. Sorry for the interruption, I had to move. Well, I started my experiments around 1854, and well, in that time there was a general idea that all the hybrids were a random combination of the parent traits. And this idea also included that the hybrids couldn't form new forms because they always return to the original form. Well, this idea was based on short experiments, in contrast with mine that lasted over 8 years, and I made it with hundreds of thousands of plants. Okay, in 1853 I returned to my high school in Berna to teach, and I started my famous experiments with the peas. This peas in my experiment because the offspring was easily produced. I used plants with opposite characteristics. Some were tall, some were short, others have straight lines, others were smooth, and some are green, or some are yellow, etc. When I was doing my experiments, I discovered two important things. That the characteristics that were hereditary are, well, I call them factors, but you call them genes. That characteristics were the ones that are passed to the next generation. Another important thing that I discovered is that the genes contain alleles, and there are two kinds of alleles, dominant and recessive. The law of segregation. During gamete formation, the allele of each gene segregates from each other, so that only one gamete contains only one allele for each gene. The law of independent assortment stated that some traits passed in the crossover independently than from other traits. Okay, sorry for that. My students left me, so I came inside again. Well, after I published my results, I did 2 lectures at the National Science Society, and they published my results in a journal with the title Experiments in Plants Hybrids. And after that, I had a misunderstanding with some persons, and they said that my work, it wasn't at all important. But then they checked it again, and then they made it a general law. So it is really a big deal. Okay, first, my studies weren't recognized by the science community, but I knew that my knowledge and all my work would at the end pay off.
This was how Gregor Mendel looked like. As mentioned before, he was born in Heisendorf, which is located in Austria. This is a monastery to which he escaped. This is how his experiment looked like. This is kind of an example of his experiment because he used tall and short plants, and he also used different colors, for example green or yellow. This is how he described dominant alleles. And here is shown a recessive allele. This is also an image to understand the law of segregation and also the law of independent assortment.